and it was simply walking across the finish corral for Craig. I can't even say how right. So the athletes are really having to hold together on course in these conditions. So we go with the ultimate athlete package at the moment. Old Dundee and Craig is really
This is how it's going down. A perfect track here at Skyline Rotorua with just the right amount of feng shui. Fans of everything fast, the wait is over. Crankworx downhill racing is back. A packed list of king and queen contenders about to break the beam.
Dropping in, make it good.
Hungry for the title. Round 1 from Rotorua is on. In 2019, Canadian queen of Crankworx Via Verbeek used her downhill chops to lock in the title. But with three-time queen Jill Kintner back in the 2020 mix, every single point counts. The race for king, a season-long balancing act between raw speed and consistency. And if contenders to the throne like Austin Warren, Chaos Seagrave, and Keegan Wright are hoping to stake a claim, they'll have to go through 2018 King of Crankworx, Sam Blankenship. The ultimate experience in mountain biking and the Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Gull are coming at you. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Welcome race fans, it's time to race some downhill. I'm talking about the Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Gull. It's been a wild week already here, stop number 1 of the 2020 Crankworx World Tour. I'm your host, Cam McCaul, and it's a party up here in the booth. I've got 2 analysts, and who knows, I might even get some more. I've got my good friend, Andrew Neethling, and look at this, we got Eliot Jackson joining us today. First off, Andrew, you've been walking the course, you actually rode the course. It's gonna be a good race today, isn't it?
It is indeed. They've made quite a few today.
Eliot, a little bit of an issue in practice, which is good for us because we have you up here hanging out with us. What happened?
Yeah, there's a step down in the woods, and there's a root right on the landing. Jumped it, rode away, totally fine, but my front of my shoe went right into the root, so I have a hurt toe. Yeah. It's bad.
Sounds bad.
It's bad.
Time for some steel toe boots for Eliot Jackson. He's talking about jamming his toe into a root on the trail. Let's take a look at an overhead view of the trail via Trailforks app here. There are so many trails in Rotorua, New Zealand, but we're going to zero in on the one we will be racing on today, a trail that is only open on race day at Skyline Rotorua Gravity Park. This is kind of a legendary racetrack. You said that they've made some changes to it, Andrew, but is it maintaining roughly the same flow?
It has. It's got the same feel. I mean, this is the famous World Tracks Champs back in the day when Sam Hill won here. And every time we come to this race, all the riders are excited because it's really natural and raw. There's a lot of off-camber. The track cuts up. It's just an all-round challenge of downhill skill.
All right, well, that's what the track sounds like with words. Let's get a visual. Let's go on board with Troy Brosnan and Tracy Hannah in this GoPro course preview.
Hey, my name's Tracy Hannah.
And I'm Troy Brosnan, and this is the Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Gull GoPro course preview. We're off. Beautiful start at the top here. Such a good view of Rotorua. Coming up to a bridge to get over the shuttle road, back into the forest, send up onto the roots. This is all about holding speed through here. Flat drop. Now we're getting into the steeps. Oh, it's so loamy and perfect dirt. There's a brand new section. Oh, yeah! Brand new section, it's so tight and loose. We're coming into the lower parts. Yeah, boys! Oh, Coming into the latter parts. Now we're coming out. This is where all the spectators can see us at the finish. New jump. Back into the finish. Here we go. That was sick. You got all the jumps.
I told you it was going to be a party. We just had Troy Brosnan on there on screen doing the GoPro course preview. Wouldn't it be cool if we had him up here in the booth? Boom, let's do it. Hey, there he is. Troy Brosnan, how's it going, man? Not racing today?
No.
Does your toe hurt too?
maybe, I don't know, the same amount of hurtness as Eliot
Okay,
here,
we
but no, I've done my neck in. I don't know why, it's just gotten so tight, and one practice run it spasmed and it was locked up. So here I am missing out on a beautiful day.
You're not missing out on a beautiful day. You're just not racing. You're hanging out with us. You need a neck for downhill racing, so it makes sense. But it's good to have you up here in the booth. How was the course running for you before your neck seized up?
Luckily for me, the course wasn't too dusty and blown out. It was running so fast with like all the dryness that we've had. Normally it's raining and wet here, so the track is going to be really fast for the riders. It's going to be testing to not overcommit and lose the front wheel in all that loamy dirt and new sections. So I think it'll be a very interesting race and one that I'm excited to watch.
Troy Brosnan and Eliot Jackson off the start list, but that's opening up the door for plenty of the racers out there. Let's take this opportunity to look at our women's start list here in the Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Gull. What do you make of this, Andrew?
Well, we're dropping in with legend Annika Beerten. Then let's look at that Via Vierbeck. She's looking for Queen of Crankworx points, but Jill Kittner's also in the field here with not a lot of practice because they've been doing so many events. And then defending champion and series champion Tracy Hannah will be dropping last.
So Jill Kittner with a 100-point lead in that Queen of Crankworx overall. Via Verbeek looking to close the gap. More race and action coming your way after the break. Welcome back, race fans. Day 4 of competition out here at Crankworx Rotorua, and wow, the first 3 were absolutely insane. So many highlights for the record books. In case you're curious where we are, we're floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Let's zoom right into the beautiful country of New Zealand. We're on the North Island, town called Rotorua. If you're a mountain biker, you gotta try to make it down here sometime. So many amazing trails in the woods. When you're here for the event, so many highlights, so many great moments. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Troy Brosnan. You've been hanging out, you've been watching the festivities. What's one moment that really stands out for you so far?
Yeah, I think everything's been so amazing. You know, all the events have just really kicked off. But for me, Kyle Straight, just going full beast mode in the slalom, snapping chains, still winning. I don't know how he did it, but it just shows to all the training that he's done's paying off.
I agree. Eliot, for you?
Yeah, for me, it was really the pump track. Like, I got like a front row seat right at the beginning, and to see those guys and girls really getting into the meat of the rollers was like insane.
I agree. You guys are on point. My highlights go a little something like this. Let's reminisce over our top 5 moments so far here at Crankworx Rotorua 2020. This has to make the list. Tommy Zula.
Well, this has to be the closest pump track race of all time. Tommy Zula was ecstatic with his win here. 0.01 of a win there, taking the gold medal.
Perfect time, run number 1. Zula edges out teammate Colin Hudson by 100th of a second. Insane. All right, number 4. Look at this. Best slopestyle run of all time. Your thoughts, Andrew?
Well, I think it must be, but you would know more than me. So we've got back-to-backs. These are the best runs we've ever seen in pump track and now in slopestyle.
Looking at this run, it's like if you were trying to remember everything you did, it's like if you heard a symphony and you were asked to recite what every instrument was doing at every moment in one song. This run was pure magic. All right, third top moment here, Jordy Scott in women's speed and style for the first time.
Well, it's great to see the woman out here, and even better, Jordy Scott taking that win. And then she would back it up and take down Jill Kittner in the pump track. What a week for her so far.
So Jordy Scott, a force to be reckoned with, but you saw her beat out Jill Kittner right there. More on that later. Take a look at this. Thomas Lemoyne returning to form here in speed and style.
Oh, well, a winless season all of last season. He comes back with a bang here, and he takes that gold medal.
Big week for him. He was back for slopestyle the very next day. But speaking of being back, Jill Kittner was not going for Queen last year. She gave that up to Via Verbeek, but for 2020, she is back and strong.
She has returned, and she has won 2 events already. Disappointing in the pump track, but let's not forget, Jill Kittner is here to dominate this Queen of Crankworx title.
Well, guys, what a week it's been. And to think we're not even done yet. We've got Sunday race day. This is the Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Goal, and it starts right now.
A lot of it just comes down to like nerves and who can get out of the gate and make it happen.
Some guys are just impossible to beat nowadays.
I really wanted to show everyone what type of rider I was.
I could hear the crowd just lift.
This is like a feeling that I've never really felt in bike racing before.
Oh no!
This year, we're talking about giving the King of Crankworx a nudge. Goal would definitely be a win.
Yeah! All right, Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Goal. Let's take a look at the women's start list.
Well, first to drop Annika Vierten. She will be most likely on an enduro bike, so it'll be a challenge for her, but look at that big hitting list we have.
All right, well, Casey Brown's going to be the 4th to drop. Let's go to the Pink Bike bike check with Casey Brown and Christina Chapetta.
What's up, folks? Christina Chapetta here with Pink Bike, and I'm honored to be joined by Casey Brown here. She's got a beautiful downhill whip, and she's going to give us a quick little rundown here.
Yeah, so today I'm running this Trek Session Park. It's got an aluminum rear end, so it's a little bit shorter than the downhill one. Carbon up front. We have a boxer on the front with 116 PSI, and I'm running tidal bars with 780 millimeters width, because I'm huge. I'm running a 450 spring in the back, clip pedals.
And what tire pressure are you running this weekend for this super dusty course?
Yeah, so it's pretty wild out there. I'm running 24 in the rear and 22 in the front.
All right, guys, you heard it here. She's kind of a big deal. So if you think her bars are wide, there's probably a reason behind that.
Yes, well, look at this. We are into racing right now. It looks like we have Annika Bearden on course.
Well, Troy spoke about how much of a challenge it's going to be to get down this course cleanly. And I've seen some of those holes there. They're developing. Talk to us about being on an enduro bike.
I couldn't even imagine trying to tackle this track on an enduro bike. Like those dust holes, like you can't see how deep they are. So once you're in it, like there's only one way of trying to push through it and make it out. And you need all the suspension you can get. So this will be interesting to see if she can, hold on to it and have some good time.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, she's 19 seconds back. Clearly had a problem there. But this course, more than any other years, is going to be a challenge for her to get down on that enduro bike. Like you said, those holes, they're deep. It's quite tricky with the light in the woods, I think. And you just don't have your bars set up really high enough to keep you up.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's interesting this year. Years past, it's been really comfy, really fast. And this year, there's a lot of off-camber stuff, so the extra suspension would really help.
So Annika looking to match up some Queen of Crankworx points. She's got her work cut out for already 19 seconds back. But they do distribute points down quite far down the kind of standings here. So she should be able to get some points.
So on that topic, she's 5 points away from Keelani Hines, who's one step above her in the Queen of Crankworx overall standings. And to get 5 points, she would just need 26th place. So it's about the war here, not just the battle. We'll see what the story is when she crosses the line.
So respectable, only losing another 4 seconds. So all the damage was done in that middle part of the course, and that's where all the holes are. That's all the new sections, those off-camber bits, the holes. I mean, every run I think is getting worse and worse from what I could see.
So Vinnie Armstrong with the time to beat right now, 3:57. This time from Annika Bearden will be not close to scratching close to Vinnie Armstrong's time. But it's all about the points here for Queen of Crankworx. Let's see where she sits in the rankings with 7 more women to go. So yeah, she's looking for that 26th place. She goes into 6th place, so that's definitely going to help out her points in the overall. All right, next racer on course should be Georgia Astle.
Georgia's coming into her own. She won the Garbo DH, which is our long version of downhill in Whistler. She's won that twice already, 9th here last year. So look for her to really try and knock on those top steps of this leaderboard so far.
Yeah, I saw her down in training, and she's putting in a ton of laps on the gondola, so I know she's coming back this year.
So you think her fitness is pretty up there, and she's doing a lot of kind of bike time coming into the season?
Definitely. I think riding the bike is just, there's nothing that compares to it compared to the gym or riding a road bike or something like that. So,
Troy, how much would you say you spend like bike time versus fitness? You know, where's the happy medium there for you? I mean, it's different for everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to find the perfect happy medium, and that's what we're all trying to get at. So, always, more time on a downhill bike is always going to be better than less time. So, the more you can get out there and do it, and also train around it, it's just going to make you faster. So, we're scratching for hundreds of seconds. So, it's going to be a lot of time on the bike to go faster.
Well, Georgia Astle through the line. She was only 0.37 back at the last split, so losing quite a bit toward the bottom of the course. Not going to overtake that hot seat. Vinnie Armstrong getting cozy, but 6 more female competitors to go in this pro downhill race. Ooh, look who we have up next on the start list. Currently sitting in 2nd place in the Queen of Crankworx overall standings. Via Verbeek looking to inch closer to the leader, Jill Kintner. Here she is. Oh, just 0.33 back.
So she's within a touch, 0.33 back, and she's through the most challenging part of the track. So Via Verbeek has really worked on her all-round riding. She's doing great in speed and style, the new discipline for the ladies. She's a great downhill rider in her own right, doing well in slalom, competitive in pump track. Our reigning Queen of Crankworx here. And that Canadian sleeve, that means she's our current Canadian downhill champion.
That's definitely one of the things to think about for all of these men and women who are competing for the title, the overall king and queen of Crankworx. They didn't get nearly as much as practice as all of the other downhill riders did.
Yeah, Jill's only started practicing this morning via as well. There we go. She's made up ground. So clearly taking it a little bit more conservatively in those upper slopes of the course. But here she's letting it all hang out a bit. Yeah, Jill only started riding this morning via as well. I think she got a few in here and there if you were really good at managing your schedule, depending on what you're focusing on. And even here, are you going for the win or are you going to just get some points for the race?
Well, it looks like she's just going for the fastest run she could get. She'll let the math work itself out afterward. Via Verbeek put in a strong run. Not going to overtake the time from Vinnie Armstrong, but sitting in second place right now, which is very important because Jill Kittner's coming up in a couple riders. But here we go. We saw her bike check earlier. This is Casey Brown.
So Casey Brown opting for that park bike, smaller wheels, probably a little bit smaller fit for her. She probably wanted to do the whip-off on it. Maybe she feels even more comfortable on it.
Well, shorter rear end, but she's still running 27.5 wheels, but it's just going to be real maneuverable. Not the tallest rider out there, but she has so much control over this bike, especially with that short rear end.
And yes, Casey's known for all-round ability, being able to whip, doing the speed and style, but when she focuses and wants to, she is a really force to be reckoned with on the downhill circuit. Taking 4th last year at the Canadian Open, she is 8 seconds back. This will be a challenging course for her because it really is one of the roughest, rawest tracks we've seen on the circuit.
Well, it's been a challenging week for her as well. A speed and style crash left her with a sore neck. Troy, you can relate to that.
Yep.
And she landed right on her, well, I guess we could just call it a butt cheek because that's what it is. She's had a big butt cheek bruise and a sore neck. So just be glad your butt cheek feels all right, Troy.
Yeah, I'm glad for that.
I'm assuming it does.
Yeah, that's one of the things about Casey that I don't think most people realize is that she used to race World Cup downhill, so that's kind of where her roots come from, why she has so much bike control.
I mean, everything. She can do so much on a bike, it's ridiculous. I've been on long trips with her. I've been on, big freeride jump shoots with her. And when you're riding with her, it's not like gone are the days of, oh, she's a girl, this is going to be different. She's just another one of the riders, so capable. She's always pushing everybody else on the trip.
And she's always got a smile on her face, always having a good time. I think a lot of the youngsters at home can really look into that. Some days you're not going to have your best day on the bike. You're going to crash. Look at these two next to us. I mean, obviously they want to be out there, but they're not able to. And they got a smile on their face. There's always another race coming up. So Casey coming down to the finisher. What will the clock say? So losing a little bit more time. As Cam said, she's a little battered and bruised from doing all those events, taking a crash.
All right, here we go. This is going to be interesting. Jill Kittner on course right now. The leader in the Queen standings. She's 100 points ahead of Via Verbeek, who's undoubtedly going to pick up some points of her own. Jill Kittner needs a smooth run here to play defense and maintain that lead.
So I chatted to Jill earlier. She was really struggling. She's not feeling that comfortable because she only started practicing this morning. And the same as what...
Jeez!
And there you go, but I had a sneaky suspicion. I was speaking to Bryn, I said, I know that when she gets the pressure and when she's in the gate, she makes it happen. And there you see, she's 4 seconds up.
I'm interested to see how this bottom split goes because it seemed like Vinnie had a really strong bottom.
Yeah, she put some time into Via. We didn't get to see her on the bottom. Oh, that's a mistake from Jill. And that's where you need to be carrying good speed. Is that going to cost her? I think it will. And I think like what Troy said, I mean, this is where she hasn't had any downhill bike time in the whole week. So this is a strong ride from Jill Kittner. She only started practicing this morning. So Vinnie with a strong bottom sector. And there you go. That mistake has cost her. She's lost a second with that mistake. And this is where she needs to let it hang out a bit because Vinnie's bottom sector was strong. And this is big for Queen of Crankworx. If she can hold on to this time, she'll be ahead of Via and put some more space between those two on the leaderboard of the Queen of Crankworx. This should be your new fastest time here, Cam. Coming to the finish, Jill Kittner. What will the time say?
Jill Kittner through the line with a time of 3:56 and only 0.35. separates her from second place with 3 more competitors to go. Jill Kintner celebrates a great run.
Ever the perfectionist. She wasn't happy before practice, and there you go. She's gone into the hot seat, Cam. Not even feeling that comfortable this morning.
Oh, we have a new leader for the first time in the broadcast. Let's look back at her run.
Troy, I've noticed Jill, she's really good with her eyes. I mean, you see it even in pump track. She's looking pretty far ahead. What else do you like about her technique?
I think her technique, having such good, slalom and pump track skills, she can really use everything. That pump there, and she messed this up a little bit, but just looking forward and getting all those pumps really helps to kind of get backsides and drive the energy forward, and then you're not having to fight to, go faster. You're always just pumping and moving forward. So
yeah, I've noticed with you, that's really big in your technique. You're not always pedaling, but man, you're always working the bike. You're always trying to find time, and I think viewers at home can take their chain off or go ride and not pedal and see how much faster they can ride by pumping certain bumps, doubling something, and I think you've really taken that to the top of the world stage.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So here we go, 3 more competitors to go. The first, Millie Johnsett here on course.
This is only her first year in the Elite. She won Val de Sol in the junior category last year, first in Canadian Open.
Oh, look at this.
Look at that. This is only her first year, first time here at Rotorua. That is a storming top sector so far. 1 second up on Jill Kintner.
Yeah, Troy, what do you think the biggest thing for her coming in from being at the top of juniors? How's that transition?
It's a hard transition. Like, you have lots of confidence and stuff going from the juniors, and then you step up into elite, and all of a sudden there's the top 10 are massive names, right? So it's really kind of daunting to jump up, and you feel pressure, and sometimes it brings out the best in these juniors, and sometimes they go a little bit too hard. But it looks like it's working out really well for her here.
Wow, interesting line selection. I think that top line might be better. I think you can carry more speed even though you drop back onto the trail, which is tough. What would you guys say there?
I don't know, that's a hard one. Like, when I did my couple of practice runs, I found I could really get a lot out of the bottom and pump, and it was the straighter line. But it could be interesting with all this dry dust and trying to hold that now.
So she's put more time into Jill, 1.87. And this is where Jill wasn't that good compared to someone like Vinnie Armstrong. But Millie really coming to own it. This is only her first year Elite. First big race of the season. Oh, losing ground. Oh, it's all coming unstuck on that off-camber for Millie.
It is so off-camber there. Like, so it's really hard to see it on the TV.
Yeah, the camera is not doing it justice. How technical and challenging that off-camber. Still managed to do the jump, but she's lost time then. That's going to cost her.
Wow, Jill Kintner finding one in the street here. Millie Johnsett with a late run mistake, putting her 2.28 back into 3rd place. Wow, so Jill celebrating right now because she just dodged a bullet. Look at this mistake.
So this is where commitment is key. Troy and Eliot, you guys would know, it's when the eyes start sagging down and you're not as committed, you start touching the brakes and the traction is gone.
Yeah.
What's the key to riding that section, Eliot?
For me, it's an interesting one because it's the last section on the track, and you've had a really good run, and you have to say, I know it's off camber, I know it's sketchy, but I have to push. So that's what you were seeing her try to do, but it is hard to hold those lines like that. It's made it even harder this year.
Yeah, definitely. When you're coming to the bottom of the run, you know you've had a good run all the top section and the pressure's on, and when you tap the brakes just one too many times, and then it'll put you right off the line. So it's all about looking forward and just staying committed.
Yeah, I think it's something like when you get to the end of the run, you're kind of like, okay, I've done all the hard work, let's just get to the finish, and that's where the problem, the doubts come in, and that's when you see mistakes.
Yeah.
So next up, she had a huge result here just 12 months ago, 2nd place. Let's see if she can back that up. This is Kate Weatherly.
Yeah, breakout. She also had a 3rd at the Leogang World Cup, 2nd here last year behind Tracy Hannah. What is this year going to produce? The track is even more challenging than last year.
It was so interesting to see her progression throughout the World Cup series. The mindset and the mental growth I think a rider has to go through to do well at a race like this and then continue that into the World Cup series is really impressive.
That is the challenge. So I think a problem there, it seemed like she might have even gone for a brake lever, so maybe had a crash up there. Yeah, it's great getting that first result, and I think sometimes then you put even more expectations on yourself. Maybe sponsors do the same, and then you're expected to back that up, and that becomes even harder challenge than, say, getting that first podium.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think, you know, all you need is that one result, but the one result can actually bring more problems than it solves.
Yeah, it's like some riders getting that factory ride. That sometimes brings more pressure and unwanted expectation that you didn't have when you were a privateer. So, you know, it's not always that simple and easy for every rider.
So with Kate Weatherly finishing second in last year's race, it means once she crosses the finish line, we will only have one racer to go. Of course, that will be last year's winner, Tracy Hannah.
So maintaining that split, so clearly on race pace, but a problem up in the Larches. We cannot describe how rough, how technical it is, and the course is also changing. Sometimes the hole gets bigger, the berms that we're helping riders stay high, they're getting blown out by riders before them. So even a bit of luck of the draw here plays into some of these race results.
So Kate Weatherly through the line, 7th place, which means Jill Kintner has guaranteed herself at least 80 points to buffer that Queen of Crankworx lead.
So there you go, just showing the problem she had, something to do with her brake lever, either knocked it on something or a crash.
So next up, it's going to be last year's winner, Tracy Hannah. No stranger to the top of the Crankworx downhill podium.
No, not at all. Our winningest downhiller that we have in the women's category. She would do something that Troy done. She's 5-peated the Canadian Open. She's also won the series, as you can see. So she's our reigning series champion, our reigning champion from here. All eyes on Tracy Hannah. She's had a good off-season, spent a bit of time with her down in Queensland, where she was getting her bike time in and her pre-season testing.
This is going to be good. In the course preview, she was already going fast, so I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, she is annoyingly fast to follow, isn't she, Troy?
Yeah.
You expect to be chilling, and you're just not. I did a bit
a couple of times I had to really...
And look at it! Troy, you hit the nail on the head. It's 12 seconds up. These are the exact conditions that she thrives in. It's dry, it's loose in cans a lot of the year round. She loves it when it's rough, when it's raw. So Tracy Hannah from Australia, our reigning champion here, and showing you just why she's 4-time series champion. Yeah, this is big for her.
You can really see the speed that she's carrying. It's just an overall average speed that's so high everywhere.
Yeah, and she's confident this year. We had to talk her out of doing some of the dream track jumps because, you know, she just wants to push her riding, push her progression. And we kind of had to say, you know, you've got a big season coming up. You've got the momentum of the world you know, she was World Cup champion for the first time. That's big expectations and pressure, but she's living up to it. 19 seconds up. She's demolishing everyone in this race.
She could stop for a tee and still win the race.
Wow, look at her on these lower slopes. So that's the off-camber section that Eliot came unstuck. It doesn't even look off-camber. Look at her go.
Crazy.
This is your new fastest time by a mile. Tracy Hannah coming to the finish here in Rotorua. She smashes the time.
What a performance out of the champ. Tracy Hannah extending the lead. Once all is said and done, 24.38 ahead of Jill Kintner. Wow.
Wow, wow, wow. I think we're speechless. Are you glad you're not doing this race?
Kind of. I don't want to get beaten by Tracy. That's insane.
They might be comparing your time, guys. This is insane.
All right, let's savor the precision of this run from Tracy Hannah.
Hopping into the backside, that is something the men are doing, and it's not even that easy. As Eliot said, you can visually see that she's going faster. She was very prepared. A lot of the other ladies didn't get as much track time, but still, this was a class act, this race.
Yeah, the aggressiveness you see out of all the turns, just trying to pump and pedal where no one else is. I always think that's the thing that you can see, really staying high up there, getting a crank in.
Yeah, and I think that momentum with being aggressive, carrying more speed, it made the off-cambers actually easier for you, and that's a challenge. Like, if you're going faster, it's actually more grip, but to actually commit to that and actually to have the skill to go that fast is something else.
Definitely, and I think confidence is big in this sport, so coming off of last season, what she did, there's almost no stopping her this season.
Yeah, it's great. It really is. That was an impressive ride.
She impressed us, she impressed the crowd. You gotta wonder if she impressed herself. If only we had a hat with headphones and a microphone.
Tracy Hannah, we are speechless up in this booth. What on earth was that? And did you think you could do such a huge run and put that much time into other ladies?
No, I had no idea, but you know, I had to train a lot like last year with my mental preparation, and I trained super hard because last year was like the hardest season of my life. So going into this year, I just wanted to be as prepared as I could be, and it was the first race, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it and be good. So that's cool.
You've obviously been training ridiculously hard. We got to know, where have you been training?
In the gym. I'm just like, have you seen those holes? All the tracks last year was just like always strength, strength, strength. So just spent heaps of time doing push-ups and trying to get stronger, and yeah, just didn't spare many minutes not training for this season. So
well,
pretty stoked.
Congratulations, that's one of the best runs I've ever seen, and I don't think it's only due to the gym. There was a lot of skill there. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Tracy Hannah. Bravo, bravo, golf clap. Look at that, Vinnie Armstrong grabbing the bronze medal. Jill Kintner grabbing the silver and 80 points. Valuable points for that Queen overall title, and Tracy Hannah just absolutely running away with it in the Crankworx Rotorua downhill presented by Gull. What a doozy in the women's category. Of course, we have pro men coming up after the break. Stick with us. Welcome back, race fans. We just saw an amazing finish to the women's category in the Crankworx Rotorua downhill presented by Gull. Men coming up in a second. And wow, throughout the women's race, all we were doing was talking about the Queen overall title. If that doesn't sound familiar to you, we'll break it down for you. Andrew?
Well, it is one of the most difficult competitions to win. It's a season-long comp, multi-disciplines. multi-skill set. You got to be healthy. You got to collect points in all these disciplines. And then at the end of it, they're going to reward you with $25,000.
Last year, Mitch Ropalato added up the most points for the men via Verbeek. Is the reigning queen coming into the 2020 season, but Jill Kinner took the 2019 season off. Of course, she finished with us in Whistler, but this is the first time we've seen her go for that crown again in the last year. She decided to sit out the first 2 events last season, and she's back with a bang, isn't she?
She is, and that downhill performance was strong. Yes, Tracy Anna won, but getting those points after not having much practice is really good for the title hunt.
So Jill Kinner grabbing that second place means she extends that lead over Via Verbeek, but the season is still very, very young. So many more points left up for grabs. Innsbruck, Whistler, and these 2 girls, they compete in so many different events. It's insane. So, speaking of all these events, Troy, unfortunately, you got a sore neck. You're not racing today, but we will hopefully see you in Innsbruck, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do all the stops this year. Pretty excited for that. And I think as much as I might be out of the overall, I'm going to just go for the next 2 wins. So, yeah, excited to try Innsbruck. I haven't been there for Crankworx before, so it's definitely exciting for me.
Well, it sounds like a busy year, but that's only the start of it. Of course, we're going to see you in a couple weeks at the first World Cup, right?
Definitely. I've taken this one off to get the neck better and get it ready and try and get that win and do a really good season this year for the World Cups.
So, of course, that will be in Portugal just 2 weeks ago until we kick off the UCI Downhill World Cup Series. We're going to be waiting for that. We're going to be rooting for you. It's fun hanging out with you up here because just in a couple weeks' time, I'll be just like you out there, staring at my screen going, "Go, Troy!" So, for those athletes that aren't following the entire World Cup Series, they don't have the sponsors, so somebody's got to step up, right? Take a look at what Goal is doing to help the young up-and-coming athletes.
So I came to Crankworx just over a year ago for my first ever Crankworx. Came as a spectator. Got so stoked off of watching everybody else ride that I was determined to come back this year and give it a shot myself. It's been absolutely awesome being on the world stage, getting to compete against some of these girls. They're next level, and just being able to ride the same tracks with them and have a chat has been unbelievable. It's so good being on the world stage. The experience is incredible. The cheering just gets everybody really amped up. There's a really good vibe to it. It really helps get you going when you know you've got a big crowd just cheering you on. I've been really lucky. Gull have been looking for their next athlete and I applied. They've been helping me out as a grassroots sponsor at Crankworx this year, giving me a lot of support. I've been doing the dual slalom, Air DH and speed and style. And yeah, without their support, I don't think I'd have been able to get this far. Totally stoked to get out there riding my bike now and going to show Crankworx just what I'm made of.
That is too cool. Everybody needs the support. She found it from Goal. We'll be wishing her the best of luck in her season as we focus our attention now to the pro men's category here in this Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Goal. And what do you say we get racing, guys? Let's do this. First rider we're going to see in the gate right now, out in New Zealand. Crowd's going to be cheering for him down here in the Finnish corral. This is Charles McCaul.
So Charles managed to win the first national round here in New Zealand. Podiums as a junior in our Crankworx event, so we have seen him a bit. It's only his second year elite. He's on the main show here. How much of that is going to affect his riding? Is the pressure going to mount?
This track having so many off-cambers, one of the things that I always try to do is really pick a spot instead of just trying to ride the off-camber, pick a spot to turn. I know, Troy, like, if the track doesn't have a lot of lines and stuff like that, like, where are you body position-wise on some of these things?
Yeah, these days it's so like Formula One. You got to stay central and be ready for everything. You don't know whether you're going to get kicked from the back or hit a big hole and go out the front. So the more central you are to your bike, the faster you're going to go the whole way down.
So Charles, 2.33 seconds down on Lewis Hamilton, another local boy. Always puts in good finishes here at the Rotorua Downhill. Wow, and he's made up some time. 1.64 back now. He's made up almost a second. Riding nice and loose. Looking similar to like Brooke does down this last section. Looking to hold that high line. Good body position as Troy was talking about. Not pushing too hard on those soft ledges. Oh! Losing it just before that.
Charles McKay pushing hard to the finish line, making up a little bit more time as well. That's say going into second place right there.
Yeah, he's second place behind Lewis Hamilton. No surprise there, great rider in his own right. Troy, we were going to speak about it later if you were dropping, but you're not. I know you're on a new bike, 29-inch, which was a bit of a surprise with your height. Speak about that quickly for us, just like the switch to 29er.
Yeah, we've just want to develop the bike as fast as we can, and for me, you know, I just tried it. Just, you know, I wanted to try everything this off season and see what worked and what didn't. Honestly, just the big wheels, they fit. I don't know. I guess it works for some riders and doesn't for others. So we'll see how that goes on the racing.
Yeah, maybe you've got longer legs than we all know how it looks on screen. You know,
Real short torso.
I was literally thinking you were going to have your pants stuck in the rear wheel the whole time with a bike like that.
So truly international field here. Look at this. We have diversity in the nationalities, but also diversity in the bikes chosen. Dropper post, single crown here for Ireland's Daniel Wolf.
Dan Wolf, new signing to Polygon UR. And guys, if you haven't seen this team video and some of the parody acting that these guys have been doing, go log on and check out the Polygon UR. Sam Reynolds has a funny bit in there. And Dan, aka the Big Bad Wolf. I don't know, have you seen it, Eliot?
I saw it. I had to watch it. It was actually like so well done. They're getting better and better at acting. I watched the whole thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much riding he's been doing, because maybe too much acting, because he's meant to have been in camera there already. So maybe a problem with it. He is on enduro bike, like we said with Annika. This year is not the year to be trying this track on enduro bike. The holes are huge. You cannot see all of them, and it just sucks that front wheel in. So he's over a minute back. Clearly a big problem for him.
Big Bad Wolf with big bad problems here, a minute back.
It's one of the things that's so hard about racing a track like this is you have to commit 100% to everything, but by the time your race run comes down, there's probably been 100 riders that have come, blown out all the turns and things like that that you had all these perfect, inch-perfect lines for. And it's, you think on your feet. Every run is a different run.
Exactly. You can know where you're going, but once you get there, everything could change.
So Dan, over a minute back. We're going to take a look at who the next rider to drop will be. It looks like this is going to be Sam Gale, also from New Zealand. There's a look at Gale in the start gate right now.
So Sam won a big race in New Zealand, and Bernard Kerr actually hooked him up with the bike this year. So he's riding a pivot. He'll be riding pivot at the first couple of races at the World Cups, and really just a rising star in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's great to see from Bernard and the Pivot Factory Racing. It's only his first year elite. He's already taken second at the national champs. This is one guy we're going to have to look up. There are a few fast New Zealand guys coming up through the ranks. It's great to see him get some support, see if he can get into the World Cup stage. So losing a bit of time there, 2.91. Lewis Hamilton has a lot of experience on this track. Clearly it's paying off. And Troy, what about not having a qualification yet? What's the strategy like for that?
It's definitely tough because you can't gauge on where you're at. So you can maybe ride with a teammate. That's what I do a lot with Mark Wallace. That will be dropping in last. And I don't know, I think you just need to do a couple of quick runs just to make sure you've got the speed and the lines work at the highest speed. And then you got to go for it, see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely a different way of racing. Pulling back some time here. Oh, start to boot. We love that, Sam Gale. Keep doing that while going fast. Looks like he's made up time here. He is. He goes into the hot seat.
Sam Gale. All right, even if you didn't go green through the finish line, I already decided I'm a Sam Gale fan.
Yes, that's right. That's what made him the time for sure.
Yeah, totally.
And choosing inside there onto the last jump out of the woods. Textbook scrub there from Sam Gale. That's Cam McCaul's new favorite ride. I can just hear it.
I'm in.
All in on Sam Gale.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't take much for me, huh? Scrub a jump. You're my new favorite rider. All right. Kieran Bennett on course.
So a veteran of our sport, Kieran Bennett, raced full-time for many years, notching up some great results. more of a part-time racer now, but no slouch, still on downhill bike. If you look through his results, he's still doing national champs, he still does national rounds. Really loves the racing aspect of our sport. Oh, drifting wide on that man-made rock section. But look at him go. I had a feeling he could put a good run in here. There's no pressure, no expectations from me. 7 seconds up.
Oh, this is getting good.
No, we are getting into
really
the tail end of the racing here. A lot of fast riders still to come.
Taking it low.
So he's opting for low, like Troy said. Sometimes you can get some good momentum from that line. Didn't look like he nailed it as good as he wanted.
It's just crazy how mental downhill is, mentality-wise, psychologically. You see riders scrubbing and stuff like that. It's faster sometimes, but sometimes it's really just to put you in the zone, like feeling good on your bike. You can see Kieran really just working the bike, going high there like nobody else has.
Yeah, new line. Yeah, I think that's big, is sometimes riders get caught up on what's the fastest line, but it's what's the fastest line for you as a rider? What are you comfortable with riding at a 10 out of 10 commitment? Definitely. So Kieran Bennett, he's going to smash the time here. What a run by him.
Kieran
5 seconds
Bennett, wow. New leader by 5 seconds with 15 more athletes to go.
Oh, that is a big run from Kieran Bennett.
He must have done something at the top.
Yeah, I
something
wonder.
really good.
That is fast. I think if you get the top committed and perfect, you're really going to put 3 or 4 seconds into someone that dabs, or if you hesitate in those larches, there is time to be made there, but you can also throw your whole race away.
Definitely.
So here's somebody we've already seen a lot from this week. Austin Warren already has competed in pump track, slalom, and speed and style. Now, dropping in for his downhill run.
How much energy is he going to have trying to get all those points for King of Crankworx? Austin Warren, high up on that leaderboard. Well, he's in touch, 0.72. And he's on flat pedals as well, so he might be able to be a little bit more aggressive and then just dab a foot or get away. You know, sometimes it's tough being on clips on those really, really off-camber sections.
Yeah, Troy, what do you think about, you know, he won't have nearly as much practice as everyone else. How does that factor in? Is that good, always bad?
I don't know. I think it's a tough one. Like, if you're gonna be really tired, you're gonna want to have lots of practice on the track. You know, when you want to go this fast. So he's tired and hasn't had much practice. So that's probably the worst combination I think you can have. But he's doing really well here.
So expect Austin Warren to be a big part of the story as we move through this season. He's already been gathering up points throughout the week.
So losing 0.6 of a second there, he's losing time, drifting back here. Can he hold high on that off-camber with those flat pedals and make it up? Can he do that? Kieran Bennett was faster then. Oh, that was a tight line. Holding good speed, I think he can do it.
Look at that! Wow. By just 12/100ths, Austin Warren is your new leader. Yeah, we got 14 more competitors to go, so he's looking to pick up at least 18 points for that King of Crankworx overall.
It's always amazing when you see such a big time gap like that, and then the next rider comes down right there.
Yeah.
Well, that is a big ride from Austin. Clearly the off-season training paying off, that he's got any energy come here on the last day of Crankworx. We're into the downhill aspect.
Oh yeah, all right. For those of you who follow the sport, I'm sure you're a fan of this guy right here, Chaos Seagrave, one of the most exciting riders on the circuit.
Yeah, one of the most brightest riders to come out of the UK lately. It's going to be an interesting kind of next couple of years. So 2 seconds down. Is Chaos going to stick to his racing? Is he going to become an all-round Crankworx rider? It's really, when you're so good at everything, how do you decide?
Well, that was you,
I don't know about that. You know what? I'm not claiming anything, but there were less options when I was racing. At this level, there was downhill, and then slopestyle just started basically when Cam took it to new heights. Now, you can be a media rider, you can be a fest rider, you can be a World Cup downhiller, you can be a Crankworx rider. Like, it's just insane, which is fun for everyone at home, the viewers, but probably not for a rider. How does he decide?
So Chaos Seagrave took second in the whip-off a few nights ago, and that's just evidence of what you're talking about right here. You wonder, where will they put the energy? It's kind of fun to see athletes just putting their energy everywhere, spreading it across. It's good for us, the fans.
Yeah, fast run, and I did hang out with him a bit at the Dark Fest. Obviously, he was showing everyone what he's got there, but he was committed to his training. He said no, he's not doing that session because he's got a morning training session to do. So still very committed to racing, and that's a respectable time from him, slotting into third.
Just off the pace there, 2.4 back from the lead. Good run for Chaos Seagrave. He could also become part of the story for King of Crankworx as we work our way through the season. He competes in slalom and speed and style and whip-off. Austin Warren soaking it up. You got to enjoy that time on the hot seat when you got 13 more of the fastest riders still to come.
Pretty fucking epic.
Austin Warren sitting in that hot seat with a 3:05.12. Kieran Bennett nipping at his heels, and then Chaos Seagrave, he's in third. Sam Gale, the youngster, with a respectable ride there, and Lewis Hamilton rounding out your top 5.
Well, here's the run that is doing it at the moment from Austin Warren.
It's great to see Austin. I saw him in the parking lot working on his bike as I was walking up here. So he really does his own thing, his own program, and it's good to see.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. Yeah, it's awesome to see when it pays off. You're here wrenching on your own bike, doing all the disciplines. It's nice to get some of that payback when you fly home with some medals, some hardware.
Totally. Yeah, that's never a bad time.
Okay, so I know I'm like a broken record here, but considering who we have in the start gate, we got to talk about the King of Crankworx overall standings. Bas van Steenbergen only 1 point away from the lead there, currently being held down by Kyle Strait. Now, Austin Warren, 8th place, so he's sitting in the hot seat right now. Every rider that comes down and does not knock him out of that hot seat, that's just more points he can add to his name. But let me look at my notes right here. Let's see here. Bas van Steenbergen needs 1 point, so he needs to just finish in 30th. We only have 13 people left to go. He's obviously already done. Well, I shouldn't say that.
He hasn't dropped yet, but that's a safe. I'm going to put quite a lot of my own personal money if you want to have a side bet. He's going to go into the top 30, I'm pretty sure, here today, but barring a flat or a crash. So it's not over till the fat lady sings. But we're looking to shake up that King of Crankworx leaderboard, and that's the interesting thing. Kyle Strait has opted not to enter downhill, even though he comes from a downhill background. Yes, Rampage when he was younger, dirt jumping, but he's got some amazing World Cup results as a youngster.
So Bas van Steenbergen needs a 29 to get those 2 points to put himself in the lead. He wasn't planning on racing downhill here, but this morning he said, you know what, I realized that it would sure be nice to get back on that airplane being the current leader. So yeah, I'll race downhill.
Yeah, it's crazy. All of these guys and girls competing for the title. Bas and Via brought 4 bikes each, so you can just imagine what traveling is like for them.
I can barely fix one bike. How do you get through a weekend with 4?
4.
So let's see what it's. So Bas van Steenbergen 10 seconds back, but like Cam said, he's looking for points, and that goes all the way down to 30th position. He hasn't had a lot of time on the bike, let alone on the track. Probably looking like he's going to ride conservatively just to maintain some points.
That's just nice here. Usually you're watching a downhill race and you go, oh, they're in the red, big deal, boring, don't care anymore. But with this, I mean, we're going to be biting our nails till he crosses the finish line. If he gets 29th, he's leaving New Zealand as the current king leader.
Yeah, it is so interesting. Troy, I know you've been in that position where you have to switch your mindset from thinking about it on a per race basis to thinking about it on an overall basis.
It's tough. Like, you can go from race to race trying to win them, but then when you've got this this thing at the back of your mind saying, oh, overall, it's really hard to get in a race run and just go all out. You know, you always got it there, and you think, oh, I won't hit this corner as fast, or I won't commit to this. But we're seeing him put in a pretty decent run here, considering he hasn't had much practice.
Yeah, he's looking good. He is looking fairly aggressive and attacking. But like you say, when you got to protect something, you often start riding tight, and that's when crashes happen. You're almost better off opening it up a bit, but that's just easier said than done.
What's the ranking going to be? 15th. Nice going there. 16 points if he sits there.
Yeah, worst case, he's going to be 27th, 28th, so that's a good ride from him. At least he's going to get some points.
It's guaranteed at least 3 points now, even if every single person beat him. But let's talk about who's beating everybody at the moment. Let's check in with your leader, Austin Warren.
Austin, What a run from you. We were wondering if you're going to have energy after all those disciplines. How much time did you actually get out on that downhill track?
Oh, it was about 3 laps on Friday, and getting here this morning, totally different track, so I had no idea what I was going into. So all I know is my arms were super sore from last night, so I was like, if I can hold on, I'm pretty stoked, and got down without a hand coming off, so that was nice.
So what do you think? The lack of practice runs, obviously you're not knowing the track as much, but it's going to change so much by the time you actually do your race run. Do you think it's nice to be spreading your attention across and not just overanalyzing the downhill race?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to do race by race, and I wasn't even thinking of downhill at all, like, throughout the whole week, and just day by day, because literally I have an event each day, so it's a hard thing to think about, but when you just switch in 4 bikes throughout the week, it's not easy to come in and just try to smash it.
Well, Austin, we're having a look at your run here. Flat pedals, how much did you think that played into your favor in those loose off cambers in the middle of the track with all those holes?
For me, it definitely helped out because I was everywhere. I think the new part on the end part of the Larches, it was honestly, it was just holding on, and I hit every route possible and not making a line possible, actually. I don't know how I got through, but stoked to get down that with the flat pedals because all I do is run flat pedals, so that's glad I kind of had them.
Well, great run and all the best. Enjoy that hot seat.
Thank you.
11 racers to go here in our pro men's field. So, who's it going to be next? Keegan Wright. No, it looks like Matt Walker now. All right, little switch up to our start order.
Yeah, Matt's another one of those guys who raced everything. He was already here last weekend for the Enduro. And yeah, just a marathon of a Crankworx for him.
Yeah, but between him and Eddie, they are really fit. Yes, you see them having a lot of fun. See what the time says, 1.97 back. He's already got 3 third-place finishes this week. So pretty successful Crankworx for him so far. Notching up some big EWS results as well. Then depending on the downhill course, he can be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, this is a home race for him. So he's got that, whether you would say it's in his favor or, there's definitely pressure. You have friends and family here.
Yeah, you always want to do well at home. I think that's one of the biggest challenges, but he's already got 3 podiums, so maybe for him this is just a bonus. Going out there, he's focusing a lot on EWS. Yeah, victory lap.
Yeah, I heard him say on the broadcast that he wanted to get 3rd in downhill just to round it out, but I think that's going to be a tough ask.
That is going to be a tough ask, but he's putting in a valiant effort. He's only 0.3 back on Bubba Warren here. So Matt Walker aboard that 29er pivot, staying high there on that off camber, looking like carrying really good speed. He could challenge the time here. Matt Walker sneaking into the finish line and not going to be enough, I don't think.
Oh, it looked like he kind of chilled out of it there at the end. I know. It's one of those ones where you look back and you're like, I could have made a 0.6 right there.
But maybe he thinks Austin's going to get second. He only wants 3rd.
Right.
One person's going to beat this time.
I don't know if that's going to last, but right now Matt Walker is sitting in familiar territory, 3rd place. Whole lot more action to come though. Kieran Bennett in 2nd, Austin Warren in the hot seat. I gotta say, Troy Brosnan, it's been a pleasure having you in the booth, my man. Thanks for lending us your wisdom.
Yeah, thanks so much. That was an awesome insight to see what goes into racing.
Definitely. So, 9 more athletes coming up for you after the break in this Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Gull. Stick around. beautiful sunny day here in Rotorua, New Zealand. It's Downhill Sunday. Crankworx Rotorua Downhill presented by Goal. We're right in the middle of our pro men's field right now with Austin Warren holding down the fort at the top of the rankings with a time of 3:05.12. And if you think about just 12 months ago, the man who found himself on top once the dust settled was our good friend, Brook MacDonald. Let's take a look back at this ridiculous run, Andrew.
One of my favorite runs of the whole of last year, Brook MacDonald planting those heels and making the last section of this course look so good. Unfortunately, we're not going to see him this year, that you all know he is injured, but more importantly, we've got him up here in the booth camp, so we're going to have... So that's Brook MacDonald sharing a little secret about our broadcast too early for you.
So what a crazy year last year. If you follow downhill, of course you're a Brook MacDonald fan, and of course you've been following, but for those of you who haven't been following this story, Brook had a big crash at a World Cup. We saw the images of him in a wheelchair, but knowing Brook, his determination, his work ethic, we were just locked onto our Instagram screens, watching him, rooting for him, sending him well wishes, and the progress was insane. It went from, you know, a frown on our face, just you know, emotional for our friend, and then that frown just turned into a smile as we saw the progress. And you know, I was looking forward to the first time I got to see him, and then guess what? Already now, less than a year away from the injury, I'm looking around the pits. There is Brook, and here he is right now, adding to the party. Welcome, Brook.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I let out our secret too early before we got to see. I am. Me and Cam have been excited the whole week. Are we going to get Brook up into the booth? And there you have it. I let the secret out, but thanks so much for joining us. What an inspiring journey you've been on, man.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a roller coaster the last 6 months. I never thought in my life I would have to deal with something like this, but to be honest, I've actually really enjoyed learning to walk again and taking step by step of just improving day by day and learning to do things again.
A lot of people don't have the ability to look at it that way through such a rose-colored lens. Was it hard? Was there ever a moment in time where you went, all right, I'm finding myself sinking into negative thoughts, or were you positive from the get-go?
I mean, from the get-go, I was positive. As soon as I knew that I could move my toes and move my legs, I set a goal, and that was just stuck in my head. And I mean, ever since my injury, I've never had a day that has been rough or you know, I've doubted myself or struggled. It's just been every day I've progressed. Obviously, when I spent so much time in Canada and coming home straight to Christchurch to rehab, it was pretty hard, like just being away from home for so long. So that was a bit difficult, but I mean, I had great physios, good doctors, and just really good people around me. I was lucky enough to have my girlfriend with me the whole time, so that definitely made a big impact on everything. And yeah, I mean, 6 months later, we're back here at Crankworx, sitting here with you guys and loving life.
And the crazy thing is, you've even posted some shots of you back on a bike.
Yeah, I mean, I was riding a bike better than I could walk it at one point. I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks after my injury, we sorted a bike out, and I got on a bike, and it obviously there was some things that weren't great, but it just it honestly felt so natural to be back on a bike. And as I said, I honestly could ride the bike better than I could walk.
Did you ever have any hesitations with that, with getting back on a bike? And
no, never. I mean, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to get back on a bike, obviously sooner than later, because I mean, that's all I know. I've grown up doing. And I feel like the sooner I got on it, the sooner I felt like I could, kind of judge when I was going to be back.
What an inspiring story, and yeah, I mean, that's testament to your attitude, being positive, and I think that's what people at home can learn. It's not going to be easy. You obviously had ups and downs, but to hear that, and you have been speaking out a bit, it seems like you someone that wants to help the sport and push the sport. Would you say that you feel the riders need more of a voice in terms of safety, how the courses are set up? Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously before my accident, I never really thought of that, but yeah, from what I went through in Canada with my accident, it's like, yeah, it's something that I'd never want anyone to go through, because it was the worst day of my life. And yeah, I think the more we voice about that sort of stuff,
makes sense.
I think the more it can be put in place, and that we know what is going to happen if there is an accident. So I really think that, yeah, us athletes voicing that sort of stuff will make a big impact.
Hopefully something can be learned from that situation, your positive approach to it, and we're going to enjoy watching you continue your progress. It's inspirational for all of us. Last year you were at the top of the leaderboard. You know what it feels like to be in the shoes of Austin Warren right now, who's your current leader. This is how he did it.
So we're going to have Brooke stick around a bit, call some runs with us. What do you like about Bubba's riding style?
Bubba, I mean, yeah, I've watched him for a long time when he used to race World Cups, and always enjoyed watching him. I mean, he's definitely a talented athlete, and he has so much ability in all different aspects of the discipline of mountain biking. So, I mean, to see him put together a good run. I spoke to him earlier on, and he said, look, I feel if you, you know, just put together a clean, smooth run, you're probably going to put down a good time. So it looks like that's what he's done.
So Bubba Warren, a 3:05.12. That's the time to beat. Let's take a look. All right. All right, Andrew, you said this guy could shake it up. The youngster, Tuhoto Ariki Pene from New Zealand. From Rotorua, New Zealand.
Yeah, first year elite. Took a bronze medal at the Junior World Champs last year, won a Junior World Cup. So we saw him in pump track, how fast he was looking. Made a little mistake, of course, but it's nice to see all these youngsters doing so well. Clearly a bit of a mistake from him because the time is drifting by. So Brooke, there's a few young up-and-coming New Zealand riders from what I can see.
Yeah, it's honestly good to see, because I guess since probably George Brannigan, there hasn't really been anyone come through, and I mean, yeah, as I said, it's good to see like Toto and Sam Gale coming through. Those boys have definitely shown speed this year at Nationals. So it's definitely, yeah, it's hope that we can have some, yeah, fast riders come through and perform on the World Cup circuit.
So a tough time for Ariki Pene in the pump track last night. Obviously an issue in his downhill run. We were saying,
oh no, you just hear it go.
Flat tire?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's just lost air in the rear tire there as well. Lucky for him, it is his first year elite. He's not going to feel like it now. He'll be pretty despondent, but he's got so many more races to come.
We thought
I hope someone can help explain that to him.
We thought there was a chance that this could be a breakout performance here at Crankworx Rotorua, kind of similar to the breakouts we've seen from Keegan Wright, Connor Mahuika, Billy Meeklum. We thought, all right, it's going to be his day today, but a mistake and a flat tire. We'll wait until next year. We'll give you another 12 months before you do your breakout.
The worst track to have a flat tire on.
Yeah.
You can't even ride it.
Yeah, that
so
shows you how off-camber it is, eh?
All right, so who do we have next? Looks like Bruce Klein in the gate.
No stranger to the Crankworx podium over in Whistler. Second last year in the Canadian Open. He's had 2 podiums as well. He's clearly moving up in the ranks. I spoke to him. He's looking to get a full season this year, getting some more support because he's clearly got the speed. Definitely on the right tracks. He's a podium contender at Crankworx
Yeah,
events.
definitely.
Yeah, this is his first year over here to Crankworx from the US. Get to ride with him a decent amount back home. It's so hard when you know you have the speed and you have the only thing left is to put it together mentally. he's definitely one of those people you see in practice. You're just like, how is he not right up there with everyone?
Yeah, he's a guy that can win practice.
Right.
Well, he's 2.99 back. Yes, bit of a margin, but it's his first time over here. This is the 6th year we've come over here. There's often a time adjustment to a course. If it doesn't suit you, it takes a few years to get going. Limited practice as well.
Yeah.
That's always a challenge here. Oh, and a bit of a mistake from him. Drifting into the soft stuff. He's going to lose further time there.
It is so interesting. I think, you know, for me coming back here year after year, before they changed the track, I had like every single pump I would do, every single route you go around, you know, you just get it down, becomes second nature. And so for a person like Bruce Klein coming in first year, it's always really difficult to get on to everyone else's.
Yeah, and he's got no qualification to do race speed either. So Bruce Klein, time drifting back there, slots into 6. Yeah, Brooke, I mean, first time here after, you know, a year away. How does it feel missing a race for you? Now this is more real, I think, than you know.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, this is obviously always my first international race, so it's always an indicator of, you know, how well I've prepared myself for the season, because majority of top athletes come over. But yeah, it's a bit different watching. I mean, it's definitely good because then I can see how people are riding and what I can compare myself to when I want to come back. But yeah, I'm definitely gutted to be missing a home race.
All right, we're gonna get our first split here for Mick Hannah. He was second place 2 years ago.
There you have it, 2.8 up. And speaking of gauging your off-season preparation, Mick Hannah does the same. He is looking to see where he stacks up against the guys, and this is the first time you get to race against most of your international competitors. Almost 3 seconds up, storming time for Mick.
A little smile there.
And his 19th season on the circuit. Second year in 2008, which was a mud-soaked race. But speaking of that, he's opted for spiked tires. Oh, and it is a great choice, clearly, for him. He felt that he could push hard in those off-camber sections with a spiked tire. He's been running that all week. He stiffened up his front suspension to keep the bars out of the bumps and holes, and it's clearly paying off. Mick Hannah gonna smash the time here of Bubba Warren.
Somebody with a little bit of experience in the dust through the line with a time of 3.16, almost 5 seconds ahead of Austin Warren. Mick Hannah is your new leader. Let's look back at this run.
You can see really, a track like this really suits Mick because he's so powerful. He gets such good pedals, such good pumps. Really just carrying your speed is what it's about. And those spike tires that Andrew was talking about, the middle that we're not able to see is super, super, super loose. Yeah. So anything you can do to get some traction on that.
Yeah, I mean, his riding style's so over the front anyway, so he's so strong.
Right.
So, I mean, he's used to being over the front or hitting bumps in that position. So, yeah, it might be easier for him.
How long will Mick Hannah be able to enjoy his hot seat experience? It looks like we got Joe Breeden on course. I'm sure they've been practicing together, so this could be a similar time.
Well, he's new to our Crankworx events. He's new to Polygon UR. He's third year in Elite, but he's had some really standout results at the British National Series. So 3 seconds back. It's always tough switching teams, Brooke, when you get on that new bike. Yes, sometimes you're comfortable, but sometimes the bike's good, but it takes time to get used to it and see what the race speed is.
Yeah, definitely. Comes a new bike, also comes a new team, and you know, it definitely can take a bit to get used to how the team environment works and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's a good idea that he's come out here and you know, spend a bit of time with the team and get racing early before the World Cup season starts.
Yeah, I think there's a bright future for him. He's a hard worker. He trains with Alan Milway. He's a former trainer of G. Atherton, of Danny Hart. So he clearly puts in the work. He seems like he's got a good nature. So it's going to just take some time, like you say. It's fit in with the team environment, fit in with the bike. He's never seen this course. So, yeah, all those things. It's good to kind of dust the cobwebs off before the first few rounds of the World Cup. So, slots into second place though. Mick had a stormer, so he's only 2.59 back from the veteran Mick Hannah, and Mick Hannah is fast on this track.
There we go, smile on Mick Hannah's face. He is exactly where he wants to be, at the top of that leaderboard. We got more to come here though. This guy always puts on a show on this course, especially when they had that old finish.
The step
One
up.
of the crowd favorites here, George Brannigan.
Yeah, George Brannigan, new team, new bike. He said he's getting on with it really well. It was comfortable from the first ride, so that's always a good sign. So he should be up to speed on that bike, so there shouldn't be any excuse here. Third here last year, always wild to see. Brooke, you can probably tell me some more funny stories of George and his riding style. 0.6 back, we're within touch of Mick.
Yeah, I mean, George is definitely a loose cannon. One memory probably both of you guys can remember is the Wyndham race run. I think that race run will go down in history. It's it's
four crashes.
Yeah, he crashed in the rock garden.
Yeah, knocked himself out, carried on, and then I think crashed about 4 other times.
Oh no.
Yeah, loose is one way to describe the man, but incredibly gifted, crazy on a bike, going for some gaps that just really shouldn't be on. He did some in Queenstown, I think, a few years ago that went viral.
Yeah. He's one of those people whenever there's a gap in the track, everyone will be talking about it at the pits, and then next thing you know, George is like, oh yeah, I did that earlier.
Yeah.
What?
So George Brannigan losing a little bit more time to Mick Hannah.
I feel like this section here is so crucial to carry your speed into the finish line, because it looks like from George to Mick carried a lot more speed than he did.
Yeah, he had that thing dialed. Maybe the tires playing to his favor. So he slots into second position, 2.38. Good solid ride for him on that bike.
That just goes to show how fast that run was from Mick Hannah there. So with only 2 riders left to go, you know Mick Hannah is feeling good. One more bullet dodge and he'll secure himself a podium. But before the end of this thing, we will see a man who's won many times here, Sam Blankensop. He obviously knows how to set his bike up for these conditions. So let's check out what he had to say about his bike setup.
Sam Blankensop here. This is my Norco Orum HSP. We've got a pretty cool new color scheme that the team's running this year. The silver, kind of metallically, kind of rainbow kind of cool color. Everything's working good. Got the cool little kind of oil slick chain on there to kind of run with the kind of color scheme a little bit. And the course here is a little bit different than we have in the past. We've got some fresher grass sections that are a bit tighter. So I'm kind of thinking of changing my tire to like a spike tire. Because it's quite bomb holey here, kind of need the support, so I've gone up a little bit more in the fork pressure. So yeah, running the full SRAM EXO cranks, shifting, the code brakes, and RockShox forks, unlimited, beautiful. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to just keep my winnings going. Won the Air DH, so I want to do obviously another win, but Troy's here, so it's always hard to beat that little ripper, and just do my best. That's all I can do, and have fun.
We'll be able to see that bike in action in 2 riders to come here. But next up will be Bernard Kerr. Let's see if he can shake up this leaderboard. Mick Hannah, the man to beat. This is what his run looked like. Traditional Mick Hannah fashion, just all out.
Yeah, that experience shining through here. Mick Hannah had another little girl at home, so maybe all the sleep he's getting here on at these races is paying off.
It's a vacation.
Yeah, it is literally a holiday for him, I think. So Mick Hannah, that style head over the front, opting for the spike tires, and it paying off. He's over 2 seconds up on his nearest competitor.
Yeah, you can see what Troy was talking about, that center body position, really attacking and committing to the off-cambers.
So Mick Hannah with only 1 more bullet to dodge to secure himself a guaranteed podium spot. That next bullet will be Bernard Kerr. But Mick is loving what's going on right now, hanging out between that Waharoa. That's the way we do it here in Rotorua, New Zealand. We got a Waharoa at the start of the course, at the bottom of the course. 3 minutes flat, the time to beat Bernard Kerr. Do you think he has what it takes to take him out?
That is one guy I think can take it. I think Sam Blankensop is the favorite out of the last 3. What do you guys think?
I know he's been training really hard. He had a lot of time on the motorcycle earlier in the off season, but he's been in Queenstown, tons of gym, you know, the 3-a-day kind of stuff where you're really just training hard, trying to get ready for the season.
Yeah. Obviously seen Bernard in America training on the Supercross stuff, so yeah, it looks like he's definitely put in some work. He's looking a lot leaner than he was last year, so that's always a good sign.
It's always a good sign.
Yeah.
So Bernard, Blankensop, Wallace will be the last 3 riders we see to go. We're about to find out if any of them has what it takes to knock out Mick Hannah from that gold medal spot. Mark Wallace looking quick this year.
He is. He's another guy to watch, but speaking to Blanky, he seems very relaxed. He says, you know what, I'm kind of relaxed because I've been doing this so long. I know what works. He's opted for less downhill bike time, but more racing. So when he rides his downhill bike, it's under race conditions, and he knows how fit he needs to be. So for me, he seems the most casual and relaxed guy out there.
So what was the story with Bernard Kerr? He was trying to get into Anaheim Supercross or something?
Yeah, it's a true story, and I think last minute, the licensing, when he told he was allowed to race or he had the license, they actually pulled it at the last minute on a technicality. So it was not a hoax.
No technicality here. We're going to allow him to race. Bernard Kerr on course.
4th year last year. Trying to regain some of that form. I think Eliot in 2018 was one of his best years, and then he got knocked out with a bit of an injury, but he's just one of the most talented riders out there. If he can stay focused on downhill for long enough, he can be a podium contender.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's one of those people that's also just has so much talent, but getting the mental side of it, getting that, you know, you see him pushing so hard, but a lot of the times just something won't quite come together for him.
You know what I reckon he probably could do is probably getting someone to run his team for him. He's, I mean, fair play to the guy.
It's a joke, but not really, yeah.
He runs a whole program and rides a bike, so I definitely give it up to him for how he performs. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. I think someone like you, or when I was back racing, I could never have done that. But he seems like one of the most unique people that could, because I'd be worried what he would do with all his spare time, what a mischief he would do.
Exactly.
Maybe that's a good thing for him. Losing further time. Bernard Kerr, owner and team manager of that Pivot Factory Racing team, holding that high line here. But this is pre-season, so this is when you see what work you've done, what it feels like. Is it going to pay off? Someone like Brooke has won here before, and that's given you a momentum for the rest of the season here. Bernard, he might have to go back to the drawing board a bit.
So Mick Hannah securing a spot on the podium, that's got to feel good. Let's see how it feels from the horse's mouth.
Mick Hannah, look at you in the hot seat. Only your 19th season out here. How does that feel, being in the hot seat?
I still feel like a beginner, honestly, and to be on the hot seat with all these guys that just, I mean, I watch their Instagrams and I can't believe how fast they are, and it's still, after so long, I still can't believe that I can match it with them, so couldn't be more happy, really.
Everybody talking about the dry, dusty conditions out there, a lot of off-camber on this course. Did you know from the get-go that that would kind of play into your strengths?
I mean, honestly, we all ride good in all conditions these days. It's the sport's at such a high level, so I took my run nice and steady. I felt like I was actually, it kind of felt like a steady run, but I executed all my lines just the way I wanted to, and that looks like that's what needed to happen.
Were you disappointed that you didn't have a jump to Suey this year?
Yes, very disappointed. And the one jump we did have, I come in too hot and had to shut it down so I didn't go in the crowd. Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought when I saw you in the gate. I was like, well, where's the jump for the Suey?
Yeah, the only decent jump's the natural gap in the woods, and it's a bit gnarly landing that after a Suey. So.
Well, Mick, it's awesome to see that off-season work is paying off, or maybe just all the sleep that you're getting away from the family. Well done, and you've secured yourself a podium so far.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
Right on, Mick. All right, back to racing here. Next rider with an opportunity to knock Mick out of that top spot. If anybody can do it, this is the guy, Sam Blankensop.
A man on form, coming off a win in ADH. Are we going to witness the winning run here out of Sam Blankensop? More focused, more relaxed than ever before. We're waiting for the time to tick by. Oh, he's down, 1.67. That is more than we expected to see. Mick Hannah has put a storming top off it.
Yeah, I really thought Blinky would do something special here, but obviously it's super important to put together a solid run, and it seems like that's what Mick's done.
Yeah, I think that was what we spoke about pre-show is it's going to be a big challenge to get that perfect clean run. It's not just about being committed, going fast, but you've got to link every section up. And if you didn't do some full practice runs at speed, you might get surprised in your race run.
Exactly, and I feel like Mick definitely has the power for this track.
Wow, so surprising not to see Blinky even up at the first split. Mick Hannah has put a storming run in, and he's drifting further back, 2 seconds back. Blenkinsop.
Yeah, Blinky! He's fast at this bottom, though.
Yeah, this is where Blinky comes into his own. He's exciting in these type of off-camber sections, hopping, pumping the bike everywhere. So can he put himself in the top 3? Blenkinsop coming to the line here. He'll be behind Mick Hannah. What will it say?
Oh!
Yeah, boy.
Blenkinsop into second place. Mick Hannah dodges another bullet, and it will be up to Mark Wallace if anybody's going to beat Mick Hannah. Let's look back, reel the tape back into this run from Sam Blenkinsop. About 1.4, I believe it was, behind Mick Hannah.
So we overheard they said he seemed to have slipped out even at the first corner. So maybe not the cleanest run, but that's racing. You've only got one shot to do this.
It's one of those tracks that's so hard because you have different sort of soil conditions at the top. Because it didn't rain, all the grass is super hard packed, so the guys running spiked tires are going to really struggle up at the top. The middle is where they'll shine, and then down here they'll kind of struggle on this off-camber as well.
Yeah, good track for Mick Hannah. All that pumping and speed that you need to carry and be strong through the bumps. So Blinky not managing to dethrone Mick Hannah, but giving a valiant effort, 1.4 back.
And then there was one. One more rider left to go.
This just always looks so good.
I know.
Just looks so good.
No gloves, paddling in the air. It's like his riding style was just built for slow motion.
Yeah,
even if he's going slow chilling, it just looks like he's going alpha leather.
Yeah, exactly.
There he is, the last man with the opportunity to beat Mick Hannah. Here is Canada's Mark Wallace.
I am so interested to see how he does in this middle bit because he is one of the guys that you watch at a World Cup and he is able to make the most difficult lines look easy. It's incredible.
And he's on a new bike. They're onto a 29-inch wheel, so this is the first time putting in competition. But look, the time is going by, and it's going by a lot, so something must have happened. Incredibly tricky to link up those sections, not to mention stay on the bike. And a lot of those things, if you miss that hookup right, you actually just go straight in the tape.
Let's see if Mick's paying attention to this right here.
Yeah.
It is. It's definitely one of those tracks. Like he could have had a line that he was doing in practice and come into it super hot at race pace, and it's just totally gone under the tape or something.
So it seems like we've got a big problem from Mark Wallace. Hopefully not too big of a crash. But Mick Hannah there, wow, looks like he is unofficially going to be taking this championship.
Hopefully he's all good.
What are the times? 3 minutes. 3 flat.
So they're doing a bit of math there.
That was my favorite moment from the entire week.
We're going to have to add, this is not Mark's favorite moment. He is riding, and there you have it, a flat. Uncharacteristic at the top. There's not that many sharp objects, but there are a root or two that you could have landed on. So bummer for Mark Wallace. Trying to see what his off-season preparation was like. So he is out of this. Mick Hannah unofficially / officially sitting in that hot seat now. Big win for him.
Bummer for Mark Wallace. Good to see that he didn't have too big of a crash. It's a mechanical, but look at what we have here. A big day for the Hannah family. Tracy Hannah taking the gold for the women and Mick Hannah locking it up for the men.
Oh, that's incredible. His 19th season here on the circuit. Mick Hannah.
The Hannah Show.
The Hannah Show. Absolutely. And by a good margin as well in the men's field. 1.4 over Blinky.
Keeping up with the Hannahs.
We're launching a few reality TV shows here tonight.
I love that Mick is he's such a nice guy, always a good attitude, and for him to just come out here and be able to perform like that, I think sometimes he goes under the radar, but he's so incredibly talented.
This is going to be good for his confidence. He hasn't had the best season. He'll be the first to admit the last few years hasn't been what is expected. Yes, on a certain track or when you go throw him at Cairns Worlds, I mean, he'll shine, but this should give him a good confidence booster going into the rest of the season. And we will see him at Innsbruck, we'll see him at Whistler.
Mick Hannah, so easy to root for, and like you say, Andrew, can't wait to see what the rest of the Crankworx Tour brings for Mick Hannah. Of course, the rest of the World Cup Tour, he's a busy man, but starting out the 2020 season strong. Mick Hannah with the gold here, Sam Blanketsop with the silver, and George Brannigan with the bronze. That's it. It's official. The 2020 Crankworx World Tour is off and running. That was our last event of the festivities here in Rotorua, New Zealand. And it came down to the wire. Mick Hannah grabbing that gold medal. But look at that, Austin Warren, there were some six. That's going to be something we're talking about throughout the season, Andrew.
Yeah, Austin Warren getting some King of Crankworx points. But Mick Hannah, what a big win from him. Above Sam Blanketsop, who was looking good, man on form. George Brannigan, always fast on this track.
Bravo, Mick, bravo. And hey, Brooke, good to see you, my man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been rad having you up here.
Thanks so much for coming.
So cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I think Red Bull TV need to do some work and get you three boys on the World Cup circuit.
Cheers, Brooke. Well, if you get back on that circuit quick, we'll join you there, dude. We can't wait to see it.
We'll follow you.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be tracking your progress, Brooke. Thanks for joining us. Speaking of progress, take a look at what we have coming for you. A lot of progress on the Queen of Crankworx leaderboards. Things moving constantly. That's the name of the game. The World Tour, we have so many events, each one of them awarding points, and this is like a river. It's constantly going to be shuffling. But Jill Kintner back where she likes to be. 420 points. She's the only person who knows what it feels like to be leading the Queen of Crankworx, so I can't think of a better person to talk to right now.
Well, Jill, it's all smiles for you, but this morning you didn't seem that comfortable. Well, you really put down a good run there. Talk us through it.
What a shocking end to the day for me, honestly. I was super discouraged coming into this one because literally I got 3 runs in a roll down the track and felt really unprepared and was a little discouraged. I didn't know if I was going to race, and it goes to show you just got to kind of show up. And obviously Tracy's had, you know, like 10 runs or more on this track, and I was just trying to like piece it together with such little intel. But yeah, long week. Good to be on the downhill bike again. You know, it's coming out of winter for us, and it's had a few events this week. So yeah, I'm pumped. Very surprised and pumped and glad I showed up.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, who slaps you around when you're having silly thoughts like that?
Well, my mechanic Ray made me come. I was like, I'm not going. He's like, you could do it. You could do it. So.
Yeah, and let's not forget Bryn. Everyone's in your corner,
Bryn.
but you know what? It's really good to see you out there. It is tough when you're not comfortable on a technical track like this and you've been riding the whole week, but that's awesome. You've also got way more points for the Queen of Crankworx title.
Yeah.
So when you get home after this race, you're going to be thankful you're out there, so well done with that.
Yeah, and I'm so happy for Tracy going into the World Cup in a couple of weeks. Like, that's just awesome, and she's on form and looks good and kind of pulled us all along this week because it was a hard course, and obviously this morning I was like, I don't know where I'm going. So it was cool to see her, inspiring for sure.
Well, awesome. We're glad to see you back at the Crankworx World Tour. We'll see you in Innsbruck, so good luck until then, and thanks for everything.
Cool. Nice. See you guys up in the booth right there.
Oh, hey! Oh, hey!
All right, see you next time.
See you right now.
Nice. You can bring refreshments if you feel like it. We'll be up here a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring you some Red Bulls, some tasty Red Bulls.
So the next time we see Jill will be Innsbruck, Austria. Stop number 2 of the Crankworx World Tour. What am I talking about? You never watch Innsbruck? This is what you can expect. Well, tickets are on sale right now for stop number 2 of the Crankworx World Tour in Innsbruck. If you're looking for a European vacation, great place to go to. They got mountain biking. It's a city nestled right in the middle of the mountains. Easy. You fly right in. The venue's right up the hill. Super simple. Maybe you live in Europe. Hop in your car, drive out there. We will see you later on this summer when we will give all these athletes another opportunity to add more points to their name. Speaking of that, let's take a look at how the king of Crankworx overall standings are looking after this downhill race. Look at that, a shake-up.
Look at that, Bas van Steenbergen, as we said, just had to get down clean. He's put some points between him and Carl Strait, but not many. It's only 8 points. Sam Blankensop, he shot up that leaderboard. And then Mick Hannah, will we get him out on some other bikes trying to amass those points, showing off how good he can be on a downhill bike?
This season is so incredibly young, but Bas van Steenbergen wanted to leave New Zealand as the leader. He did just that. I'm sure he's stoked, but there's only one way to find out for sure. Bas?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, Bas, challenging for you. We heard from Jill, you didn't get many runs with the schedule, but it's great to see you out there. How good does it feel to leave with the leading board there? Excuse me, leader as King of Crankworx.
Yeah, it feels real good. I saw last night there was one point between Kyle and I was like, well, might as well try to race the downhill, and glad I did.
So it was lava bar, race downhill, 1 point. I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, I may have skipped the lava bar part, but the other part's pretty accurate.
Well, you do it so many events. Maybe it was both, but we're taking a look back at your run. Obviously not a lot of practice. What did you focus on in your run to get down cleanly?
Honestly, I was just trying to not make any mistakes. Like, it's so blown out there, and it was pretty tricky. So, yeah, just tried to get down clean, and obviously the speed wasn't quite there, but that's all good.
Bas, is it weird doing a downhill race, which is typically a scenario where you just go all out, the fastest run is what your objective is, but here you're focusing on points. Is it weird to kind of hit the rev limiter?
I don't know. I wasn't trying to think too much of the points during my run, obviously, or like before, but I just couldn't really hit the rev limiter because I wasn't quite sure where I was going just yet.
Well, Bas, it was great to see you out in all the disciplines. Great results. And you know what? We'll see you in Innsbruck. You're the leader of our King of Crankworx.
Sounds good. Looking forward to the Enduro, what is it? Enduro slope cross.
Yes!
Yes.
You are mine, my man. You bring those zebra pants. You're going down.
Oh, I'll bring him, Cam. I'll bring him.
Yeah, Slope Throw Across Challenge version 2 2020. You're
Sweet.
mine, buddy.
Let's do it.
All right, later, Bas. See you in a couple months, dude. All right, Eliot. I think it's been really fun having you in the booth. Thanks for joining us, and I got one more question for you. Final thoughts?
Oh, right. Yeah, this has been incredible. It's been so good to learn from you guys. It's incredible how good you guys are at this. I think some people don't think about you guys as being that good, but I really admire you. No, I'm just kidding.
Too kind. Oh,
Who said that?
He's kidding. He's not kidding.
But I know. I wish I would have been able to be out there riding. This is one of my favorite tracks of the year. Crankworx is my favorite event of the year, all of them. So, yeah, hopefully I'll be in Innsbruck, and I will also be in Whistler. So, can't wait.
Well, we love watching you on the bike. We love having you up here hanging out. And if you just can't get enough of Eliot Jackson, he's been doing some videos for Red Bull Bike YouTube channel, right?
That's true. At the World Cups, I go and talk to my friends, and then they put it on YouTube. So it's cool.
And backstage here.
Yeah, well, log on, check it out. So it's awesome to get the behind-the-scenes insight. What a race, Cam.
Andrew, your final thoughts.
No, well, you kind of called it, though. We were going back and forth. I had Blinky, I had Troy. I know Mick's going to be solid. You had him for the win. So,
I should have put some money on it.
What a race, man. Next time we will.
All right, next time. Next time I'm going to take all your money. Well, next time is going to be a few months away. After 4 days of events, I wish we could just keep it rolling into tomorrow, but that's all she wrote for Crankworx Rotorua 2020. You know what? I got to thank my co-commentator, Andrew Neethling, for hanging out with me. Eliot Jackson, it's been great having you. Thanks to our entire production crew, everybody who makes Crankworx happen. But overall, I got to thank you, our loyal mountain bike fans across the world. We will see you in Innsbruck.